Hi, my name is Kyle Olson. I'm 30 years old. I grew up in Ankeny, Iowa. As a child, I had a pretty normal life, a good family. I have a younger brother, about 2 years younger than me, two married parents, a good household. I had good opportunities and experiences as a child, go on vacation, play sports, that type of thing. But I was never raised in a Christian household, so a lot of my childhood was kind of performance-based, mentality of getting good grades and following rules and those types of things that parents do for their children. Parents definitely loved me and gave me good opportunities. As I grew up, I really kind of was an angry teenager. I kind of just got mixed up in the wrong crowd of people. You know, no traumatic events or anything like that, but just throughout growing up, just kind of grew up quick, always wanted to be older than I was. So those high school years, I really fell into trouble, kind of hanging with the wrong crowd or just doing what kids do, and you know, found out what alcohol was about 15 and started experiencing that, and girls become a thing in your life at that point, and just trying to fit in and do what everyone else is doing. So I found myself just partying throughout high school and smoking some pot here and there, using cocaine, just kind of what the other kids were doing around me. During that time, I got a OWI when I was 18. Prior to that, you know, a couple drinking tickets, assaults, really minor stuff, but you know, I was just always angry, and you know, my parents had me meet with a counselor, some of those types of things, just to figure out what was wrong. Put me on kind of antidepressants, was just trying to balance me out, and I just felt empty often. At the age of 18, I mean, throughout high school, I got good grades. I was good at sports. I was respectful to people. I was a good person, you know, but I just had kind of that dark side of just really wanting to do what I wanted to do all the time. And authority was a problem for me, especially from my parents. I just didn't want to listen or submit to their rules, so I kind of was a rebellious kid. At 18, after I graduated, I went to the University of Iowa. There I thought, you know, fresh start could, you know, really get back on track with my life and have good opportunities in front of me with a college degree, those types of things. But really, you know, I was good with people, meeting new people, that type of thing, but just fell into that same crowd again of, you know, work hard, play hard, party hard. And Iowa City was just really difficult place to have any type of really an idea of what life was truly about, because it was just a college atmosphere of really partying and going to school, and that's what everyone did. And after about 3 years of that, you know, I passed some classes, failed some classes, was just kind of stagnant in any schoolwork, just wasn't really, you know, desired to really do my best in that, and got off track. So I dropped out after that and moved back to Ankeny, where I was from, and lived at my parents for a time and took a part-time job. Throughout those years, just really continuing to catch those drinking tickets or possession of marijuana, some of those types of things. And, you know, opiates became a thing that I really loved. Popping pain pills was a frequent daily thing at that point. Really, I'd work, I'd get a paycheck, and I'd spend it on the drug dealer. Really got my paycheck most of the time. I wasn't paying rent, I was living at my parents'. You know, during that time, they knew something was up. They'd kind of give me a drug test every couple days sometimes, and said that I'd have to remain sober while living at their house. And that was just too difficult for me to do. So I ended up moving up to Ames, Iowa. Thought I could move to Ames and kind of get a job and just be on my own and just work and try and see how that would work out for me, and maybe possibly, you know, finish my degree at some point. So again, same story over and over. It's just falling into the wrong crowd, continuing to use drugs. started using IV. And that's really when things went downhill. Was, it became a daily thing, and my mind was so focused on using and maintaining my habit that I'd really start doing some stuff and having some characteristics about myself that I never saw before. And it was, stealing from others, or lying, and or breaking into a house here and there, and just whatever I had to do, pawning my stuff off to get that money to stay high. And at that point, I was just tired. My parents loved me throughout that and wanted what's best for me, but it was growing on them. They were getting weary. I was about 25 at that point, and after 10 years of treating your parents like garbage, they kind of know your games and back away a little bit. And I knew they'd always be there for me if I wanted to turn around. So they did help me get into a 6-week residential treatment program there in Iowa. And it was the first time I've been in treatment, but I knew I needed it. I knew I needed a change, and just kind of pulled out of that lifestyle. But, it was a nice place to sober up and lift some weights and, have some good talks with some counselors, but it never really changed my heart. Or I had the mentality, I can still probably smoke pot and, drink, but, the opiate thing, that's my biggest problem. I'll just stop doing that. Well, I was just kind of lying to myself, still after I leave treatment, same friends, same environment, same mentalities, and really the same heart towards life and towards people. So, fast forward another year or two of IV opiate use, just, again, came to my parents and said, I need help. I'm evicted from my apartment. I don't have a car. I don't have a job. I don't know what I'm doing. And they brought up Teen Challenge. And at first I was like, no way. I'm not going to a place 12 months. That's way too long. I don't need that. And the whole Jesus thing kind of freaks me out. Because, I never grew up going to church. I looked at those people kind of like they were kind of odd, I didn't know what to expect. But really, with no other opportunities to go anywhere else, they said that's where you're going. So I decided to make the decision to go, and it was the best decision of my life. By far, number one best decision ever. As soon as I got there, you could just tell people were happy, and I didn't know why. And come to find out, they had the Lord in their life, and man, they were living that Christian lifestyle, and it was appealing to me. I saw people that, I wasn't sure what was going on, but I knew they had that, and I knew that it was the reason for their happiness, and it really started to grow on me. And I always believed that God was real, but just never had any training in that area, or never had anyone come alongside of me and teach me some of that stuff. And Teen Challenge really took that role on and, matured me in my faith. And I can remember about 3 weeks into being there, really having a life-changing experience, in chapel during worship time. Really, the Holy Spirit kind of, I believe, came upon me, and man, I felt different. I felt alive. I felt a feeling I never had felt before, and it was better than any drug I've ever done in my life. And I said, man, that's what I want. That's what I want for the rest of my life, was that feeling. So progressing through the program, dealing with some of the root issues of really rebellion and the way I view other people and anger, those things left me. I believe that's God's grace, and just kind of rerouting my brain in the way that it thinks, and just renewing my mind. And when I get to Omaha, the reentry center, I got a job at it's called Nebraska Engineering. It was the best paying job that I've ever had in a field that I like, kind of warehouse logistics type of work. Was able to save a good chunk of money. And when I got out, lived with some Christian believers. I moved back to Des Moines and really had some good accountability in my life, some good people around me. I made mistakes, but it wasn't the same. It just wasn't something I wanted anymore, and I was kind of able to walk through those things with the help of others. Shortly after that, I met my now wife, or my future wife, started dating, and she lived in Omaha. So I actually moved back to Omaha, took the job that I had while I was in the program, and lived with another Teen Challenge student that I had went through the program with that was doing well at the time. So, from there, I, got plugged in again. I had a church here in Omaha. I had good people around me, and really just walked it out for a while, and I ended up marrying my wife, Autumn, and now we have a son, a 6-month-old son named Oliver. After being married about 6 months, I decided we'd go back and work at Teen Challenge. It was life-changing for me, and giving that time outside of the program to really kind of walk it out, I found that what was being taught here was accurate. It was real, it worked, and I wanted to come back and be a part of that. So now I've worked here for about 2.5 years as a student affairs specialist here in the Omaha Reentry Center, and my life it's never been better. I have purpose, I have a full life, I have a son, I have a wife. That degree that I was trying to get back in the day, I'm going back to school now to finish that. So just things have fallen into place, and then really the most fulfilling part is to be able to pour into the guys' lives that come through our program, and to know what's out in front of them, or even know some of the stuff that they've been through, and just to come alongside them and love on them, and just show God's grace and how faithful He is, and how patient He is with us. So I just love what I do, and love my life, and I got Teen Challenge, Adult and Teen Challenge to thank for that.